what is going on, everyone? Thank you so much for checking out my new Friday the 13th video right here on my YouTube channel. If you're a follower of mine, you've already known that I've done the ranking of the Friday the 13th series. I've done the ranking of the Jason looks, and I've done the ranking of all the final Friday the 13th girls, women, survivors, whatever you want to call them. But now I have a good buddy of mine, Bill.
How you doing?
And he's going to be talking about the entire Friday the 13th franchise with me. It seems that I have a lot of friends and family that like the horror genre, the horror films, but they're not necessarily a big fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, which is a shame.
It really is.
And I finally got a buddy that can pretty much tell you from one to the last what's going on, what he likes about it, what he dislikes about it. And I just thought it'd be something different on my YouTube channel instead of just me talking about it. That we're not putting them in no order. We're not ranking them from best to worst and all that stuff. What we're going to be doing today is starting from the OG, the 1980 Friday the 13th, and working our way up through each film all the way to the 2009 remake. And we're going to give them a grade. So we're going to talk about our likes, our dislikes, and I mean, is there anything else you want to add? Do you think that's...
I feel like that's pretty much it. That covers the basics.
Right on. So, with that being said, if you do want to check out any of my Friday the 13th other videos, I will put the link in the description. But, having said that, Bill, are you ready?
Ready to dig in.
All right. So, we're going to start off with the original 1980 Friday the 13th.
Okay. I mean, if we're starting off, automatically got to admit, classic movie.
Yes.
By far one of the greats. It helps set the standard for what horror movies are today, in my opinion. You have all your quintessential things. You've got your final girl, indomitable killer. The first one, in my opinion, was more or less a whodunit than a standard slasher.
Right.
What do you think?
To be honest with you, I am already going to have to disagree with you on one thing.
Really?
I don't feel like it set a standard because it was a direct ripoff of Halloween.
I'll give you that. They even admitted that it was trying to rip it off.
Sean Cunningham, the one that made the film, straight up said, let's just rip off Halloween. And I do agree with you on as far as the film being a whodidit. But I think they went about it the wrong way. Because I like how you never saw the killer, but they should have thrown Pamela Voorhees, which was not even her name in the first one. It was just Mrs. Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they should have thrown her in a few scenes just to kind of get to know, hey, she's around. She could have been in the supermarket at the beginning when the girl's like, I want to ride to I want to ride to Camp Crystal Lake.
Right.
And she could have been like, dear, I'll take you, or something. Or something could have changed. But when she shows up at the end, all of a sudden this character that no one has seen throughout the entire film
has just suddenly appeared, and now they're the killer.
Right.
I give you that. It makes the whodunit a little, and this, in my opinion, for the whole movie, really slow down.
Yes.
First movie, God love it. It's just comes at such a slow pace. We literally watched someone cook.
Thank you. I'm so glad you was going to say that, because the scene where Alice starts to cook and makes coffee and stuff. I did this. We did this movie on my podcast, Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy, and I don't remember what grade I gave it, but it is one of those going into it, and it's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that I've rewatched all the films, this one, and I even said it on my ranking, this one is so slow and boring that I guess you can call it a classic because it started it all, but just because it started it all doesn't make it a great film.
Well, no. I mean, and I know we're doing Friday the 13th, but you could say something similar to the Terminator series. Just because the first one was good,
exactly,
the second one was so much better.
Oh, yeah.
And it improved on everything, which we'll get into Friday the 13th Part 2.
Maybe one time we'll do the Terminator series.
Hey, I'm down.
Because I love some Terminator. But, yes. But, I don't know. It's to me, it's almost unbelievable that Betsy Palmer, Mrs. Voorhees, was able to throw everybody through the windows, hang up full-grown men up, but I'll see what you think about this, because me and Randy talked about this on the podcast. I like doing the what ifs, or what do you think about this? We learn in part 2 Jason was not dead. Do you think Jason was helping his mom? Is there a possibility of Jason really helping his mom?
And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here.
Okay.
Going into the 2009. They make a comment where Jason watched his mom die.
Yes.
I could definitely see a what if scenario where he may have been helping and he might have been there to see her die, which is why we get in part 2 the shrine.
Thank you. He had to be there because the head? How did he get the head?
Exactly.
He had to know. Now, I know that we're just, hypothetical?
Yes.
But it's fun to think that way, because it's like, what if she was calling him to do this stuff? Or, what happens when all these other people was getting killed? What if it was him doing it, and then she shows up and doesn't realize that her son's even there? Because that's the thing, is she thinks he's still dead.
Right.
So that's something to think about.
I mean, there's a lot of what if scenarios.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we get the classic jump scare at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
With waterlogged Jason jumping out, but I don't know. I think that was more for a scare factor.
Yeah.
And as obviously they alluded it as a dream, a nightmare scenario. So I don't know. I think a what if scenario, Jason may have been around and he may have been causing the violence without her even knowing.
Right. So, if you haven't got anything else to say about part 1, what grade would you give it? And we're doing just like me and Randy do on our podcast. You can do A+, A-, C, all that.
So, and this is going back to you and Randy with your podcast. I know you're big fan of practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Savini in this, a godfather of practical effects.
Yes.
While I love it, I hate the fact that they killed somebody's pet snake in the middle of it. That was a little brutal, but overall, with practical effects, for me, it gives it a bump up. But the pacing and the sudden whodunit at the end,
yeah,
I got to give it either a B- or C+.
Okay.
So
which one? You got to pick one.
Oh man. I'm going to say the practical effects save it, and I'm going to go with a B-.
Okay.
It's a classic. It's the very first one. And again, just because it's a classic doesn't mean it can't be better.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to say that this film to me gets a C+, because it is a classic, but it's one that I never revisit. And I'm like you, the practical effects and the music. I love the practical effects and I love the vibe of the music.
Definitely.
Other than that, I hate the cast. Except for the main girl, Alice. She is good, but they just stuck her in boring situations. Everybody's like, Kevin Bacon. He didn't do nothing in the movie.
No.
I mean, his death scene was the best. But
absolutely. His death was one of the more iconic ones, up there with Johnny Depp in Friday the 13th.
Right. Nightmare on Elm Street, you mean?
Yes. We're talking Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Swap. But yeah, no. I gotta agree with you. The acting was very stilted.
Yes.
But love our final girl.
Yeah. There you go. She didn't get justice in part 2.
Oh, definitely not.
But so there you go. The original Friday the 13th, Bill's giving it a B-.
Yep.
And I'm going C+.
That's not that far.
No. So now we're moving on to Friday the 13th, Part 2. And I'm going to go ahead and go first on this one and just say that this is one of my absolute favorites. Casting is phenomenal. This has the best final girl, in my opinion. Jenny is amazing. She's not only a very attractive woman, very pretty, but she's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
She's ruthless and aggressive.
Oh, absolutely.
And
very resourceful.
I think that she is the best final girl. And like I said, the entire casting to even where Paul and the rest of the cast, I think, was perfect. I'm not going to give this, as far as a grade, I'm going to give this a B plus. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm not going to give it an A minus or an A.
Okay.
Is because the beginning of it was trash. I hated how they killed Alice, and I hated how all of a sudden Jason is out of the woods and he found her house in a city.
Yeah.
Didn't like that.
Completely understand. It doesn't feel like it belongs in the movie.
No, not at all.
It's Jason leaves Camp Crystal Lake, finds her house, murders her, and then goes back.
Right.
I mean, that's something like Chucky would do because of his killer completionist thing that they gave him later. Michael happened to kill Lori, but that just doesn't feel Jason.
No, it doesn't. And like I said, the head in the refrigerator, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those... I don't know. It's just so he's just carrying his mom's head around, and I don't know. Like I said, I know we're looking too deep into it, but I love this sequel. I think this outshines the first one. I almost feel like sometimes this should have been the first one, but a lot of people complain about the sackhead Jason. I like the sackhead Jason because to me it is creepy just having that one eye showing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he runs. I love a running Jason.
Oh, definitely.
And it's more legit humanizing this film. He's on his own. And the scene that got me when I was little is when the cop is driving on the road and all of a sudden you see, and he comes across that road.
Right.
That cop is so stupid to get out and chase somebody. I'd have been like, nope.
I know we talk horror movies. You always look back and it's like, I would have done that so different. But it's definitely one of those that I would have called in, like I used to work for the police department. That would have been me saying, nope, I'm out. I'm going home for the night. Yeah. You guys are good. I'll talk to Chief in the morning about my discipline. I'm done.
Right.
But no, I got to agree with you. If we're not looking at the iconic hockey mask, Baghead Jason, phenomenal.
Yes.
And for me, like you, I love that it's a humanized Jason. Mm-hmm. Before we get into this, he teleports, he's mythical, he's all these other things. He's a guy with a bag on his head.
Right.
Killing people. It's beautiful. It's simple, and it's done right.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, this isn't one of my favorite, absolute favorite kill scene in any of Friday the 13th films is this one. It's the one where whack, and he whacks the dude in the wheelchair.
And he rolls down the flight of stairs.
It is practical effects, everyone, not CGI. It is such a good kill scene.
Oh, definitely.
Because it comes out of nowhere. And when he hits him and you hear him go, oh, and he goes down, I love that. And even the cop's death in this, when the cop's sitting there looking and Jason's got that hammer, but he turns it where the peg is.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it
claws him.
Yeah.
Oh, loved it.
We love a death scene. But no, I just feel like they did almost everything right in this film. But that opening scene ruins the feeling of that, like anything could happen. Like, I don't know. When he showed up at her house, I was like, okay, now this is... And I did not like that Paul just disappears at the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Paul is your only survivor in the entire Friday the 13th series. technically, early on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I don't know. Like I said, when you talk sequels, a lot of people hate sequels, but I feel like this is one that just did it right.
Yeah.
This like I said with Terminator Part 2 just solidified Jason as a killer. I mean, I know that they, like we mentioned before, they pretty much ripped off Halloween, but this solidified Jason as his own individual killer.
Exactly.
For me, I think I gotta agree with you. It's a B plus. That intro, it just it doesn't feel like it belongs in this movie.
Right.
Other than that, phenomenal movie. Greatly improved on everything that the first one did. The story that it built up and what you go into for the second one, it just beautifully tied together.
Yes. And the third act, the final chase scene with Jason and Jenny, phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely.
I loved it. So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of wondering how you was going to feel on that because I don't know if you did watch my rankings on my channel.
I tried to come in unbiased, so I didn't watch them.
Okay, good deal. But I love two. And like I said, I was wondering how you was going to feel about it because so many people go, oh, Sackhead, Jason Sackhead. And I'm like, dude, I like Sackhead.
Oh, yeah.
To point something out real quick before we move on, the part that I absolutely love and I think is creepy with Jason, and sorry because I'm not going to be able to remember all of the kids' names in the movie, but the girl is walking up. She was the one that was fixing to have sex with the guy in the wheelchair.
Right.
She's walking up the stairs, and she opens the room, and she sees the two couple that he had stabbed through the bed.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he comes out he slices her leg, I believe. She falls against the wall, and the way he just comes up out of that bed, he's locked eyes with the camera. He takes that sheet off, and then he just slowly raises that knife up. That's trippy to me, man.
It's ominous. You feel the terror that it's imposing.
Exactly. Like he's got his eye locked on her, and he's not looking around or nothing, and she knows she's done for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah. So, what is your favorite kill scene of 2?
Man, I'll be honest with you, and I know it sounds weird, but I actually like where you have the impaling of the two in the hammock or on the bed.
Yes, I like that too. I just wish they wouldn't have cut it because there was an actual scene where it shows her trying to push him off, but the freaking rating boards butchered some of it. Yeah, which you're going to run into that more and more as we talk.
Oh yeah, they the more the rating board interfered, the more it became.
So
yeah,
B plus and B plus.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right on.
Yeah.
So now we're moving on to Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. This was the first Friday the 13th I had ever seen.
Really?
Yes, and this was the first Friday the 13th film that I ever owned on DVD.
DVD.
Yes.
I will say, I'm actually a big fan of the techno remix of the intro theme.
Yes.
Absolutely love how they redid the music. They kept the horror feel, but updated the
that theme. Disco theme, man. It was like it really did separate itself. I can tell you that right now.
Exactly. It definitely made itself iconic. Man, in this one, I feel like they took a step down.
Okay.
Now I know it's 3D. The technology was new. They're having to work with a bunch of different things.
Right.
The cast, like they said, they understand it was trying to get this movie made.
Yeah.
The technology was new, so you have the intro. I can't think of the guy's name, but you notice him looking as he's moving the pole to try and make sure that he's got the pole alive to the camera.
Yeah.
Roy or
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the grocery store owner.
Yeah, because he knocked down the pole, and his wife starts chewing his butt out. She's like, "I just hung them clothes up."
Yeah, you see him, and he looks back at the camera to make sure that the pole is where it needs to be.
Yes,
and that was primarily the big thing, is because of the new technology. It was less act good and more make sure your prop gets in the 3D shot.
Right.
But I'll tell you, like, jumping on to one of my favorite kills has to be, and I know it. You can definitely tell the effects on it when you watch it. I think you know exactly which one I'm talking about. The arrows through the eyeball.
Yeah.
As you just watch the arrow fly down the road, the line. But it's so good. And then Jason just drops it and walks away, like all not like, cool, I just killed her. Just walk away.
That's the first time that you ever seen him with a hockey mask on too.
Yeah, which he got from Shelley.
Yeah. My favorite death scene in part 3 is the guy that walks up on his hands.
And he just right down the middle.
Right down the middle, but it's how he's walking and the camera's under like a glass floor.
Mm-hmm.
So you see it hit him. That is a violent death scene. But yeah, that's my favorite one. And I love Richard Brooker, who played Jason. I feel like Steve Dash is the one that played him in part 2 that did the majority of Jason in part 2. He was good. He looked like the hillbilly, skinny, wiry guy, where Richard Brooker had more of a menacing feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think I would have loved to see him continue to play Jason, because when he's in that barn and he's pissed and he's looking for her and he just starts tearing the barn apart. He said, I don't know if you've ever watched the documentary on the Friday 13th movies, but it's like 6 hours long. It's amazing.
I have not.
Well,
I need to watch it.
I've got it on my Vudu. I'll get you to watch it.
All right, cool.
Richard Brooker said that before they ever started filming, the director said, "Don't ever ask me what your motive is. You don't have one. You're just a killer." And I like that.
Yeah.
He said, "You're a shark, and you're just going after blood."
Mm.
And I think he played that role really well. Again, talking about the cast was okay. The main girl, I thought she did her job. I thought she was a good actress. But, once again, the reason I'm not going to give this a really high ranking, the stupid storyline about Jason attacking her. And did he have his way with her?
Yeah.
That made absolutely no sense. You know?
Yeah, no, I gotta agree with you. I don't know. There's a lot of the cast that I really like. Like, I like Fox. I like the bikers.
Yes.
The bikers are really good. They do a great job of being menacing.
Yes.
I gotta say, and you can hate me for it if you want, I do not like Shelley. Shelley...
Really?
I just find him annoying.
And Randy really likes Shelley. I think that's because they're almost alike. So,
well, I was gonna say, I think the reason I hate him is because I feel like I'm a lot like him.
You?
Yeah, me. Well, it's one of those, you try to be funny, you try to be this, and it's like, oh, well, I'm fine.
That's when you see everybody like, haha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, me and Randy off two sides of the same coin. He likes him because I like him. I don't like him because I'm like him. So,
see, I do like Shelley because I've seen where I know how it is where people's like they're wanting to be noticed and they're wanting to fit in, but they try too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that he's kind of one of those. Look, this is me. And that's how I've always been, is like, I don't try to fit in.
Right.
But my thing is, I've always said this ever since I was in high school. Hey, if you don't like me for who I am,
you don't like me.
Yeah, so I'm not going to try to change for you.
Right.
And that's kind of how he was.
I get that. Now,
he had balls when he ran over the motorcycles.
I will agree with you.
I hate that scene, though. I did it. Did I do it? And she's like, yes, you did. You were great. He's like, I was great.
But going back to Shelley, I mean, it's because of Shelley Jason gets the iconic hockey mask.
Yeah.
And we owe it all to him. God love him. But, and that's the only one of the complaints that I have in it is how long did Shelley have to die? Because we see him, and then it's like 20 minutes later, he's still alive with his throat slit, barely hanging on.
Will you say that? And the woman that finds him, the stoner chick, her acting is atrocious.
Oh.
She's like, quit playing, messing around, man. And he falls over, and I hate when she's like, oh my God. And she takes off running. And then that's all, that's as high pitch as she ever gets. And she's like, Shelly's dead. And then
and she's climbing up the
Shelly's dead. Yeah. And then she comes back down. She doesn't see this big, massive Jason getting the fire poker. And when he stabs her, she's like, it's that her and her, I guess her husband, the guy that's a complete ripoff of Cheech and Chong.
Oh, definitely.
They didn't make sense to me.
No.
I actually did like, what is the guy that gets his eyes popped out?
Oh, the one he squeezes his head.
Yes.
Oh,
terrible effect.
Well, and that's one of the things that they talk about is how they had to make a collapsible head just for the effect.
But what was his name? I cannot think of his name. I don't know, but anyway, Chris is the girl's name.
Right.
She was but I thought her and him did really good as far as the chemistry. Yeah. But I cannot think of his name. It's going to bug me now. But I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like the casting was okay for the film. It was just, I'm kind of like you. The bikers was probably the best part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now the couple that's, of course, the girl that dies in the hammock, she's pregnant in the film.
Yeah.
She gets the machete through the chest, which almost reminds you of Kevin Bacon's death scene.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. Like I said, if you watch that documentary, you do realize that you hit the nail on the head. They pretty much couldn't focus on the acting because they had to get the shots into 3D.
Yeah.
So what would you give this a grade?
Well,
it's Rick.
Yeah.
Ain't that the guy's name?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. You talk about the sword through the chest with the Kevin Bacon nod. I think it's funny because just before she gets the machete through the chest, she's reading a Fangoria that talks about Tom Savini.
Yes.
So it's that subtle nod that makes it just chef's kiss. I'm gonna have to give it a C+. Just I like the movie. It's good, but I feel like it's a step down. I was not a big fan of most of the cast. I did like a majority of them. I just feel like it really suffered trying to get those 3D shots.
Okay. I'm going to give the film a B.
Solid B?
Yeah, because I do enjoy the film. It's just the acting and some of it, I'm like, ugh. And it does have slow spots.
Yes.
But, man, I love that finale. When he's chasing Chris, I think that is one of the creepiest scenes is where when she's got his hands in the window and she takes off down the hill and she falls down and he smashes his head through the window. All of a sudden, she's laying there and she looks back and here comes this menacing Jason and he's running. I love that scene.
The running Jason. Yeah.
But no, and we didn't even mention the ending. I didn't really care for the ending, how it's Mrs. Voorhees. Yeah. But the reason like I said, I can't really give this movie any higher than that is because I didn't care for the Mrs. Voorhees scene, and I did not like that they made Chris losing her mind at the end.
Yeah.
The actress has said that she don't think she lost her mind. She said she thinks she's cool. She's finally found herself and blah, blah, blah. But she's clearly just losing it. And I didn't like that.
Yeah, no. I'll agree with you on that. And again, the Mrs. Voorhees ending, which obviously flip side of part one.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I was not necessarily a super fan of, like these first ones, is you have those nightmare jump scare endings.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, everything's nice. We have a nice calm moment. Oh no, here's little boy Jason dragging you under. Oh, here's Mrs. Voorhees dragging you under.
I did think it was cool when she woke up and she looked and he's upstairs in the barn. And then he's like, he looks creepy.
Yes.
I thought that. But did you know there was an alternate ending to where he actually does grab her by the head and takes a machete and cuts her head off?
Did not.
They don't have it on film as far as I believe, but they have pictures of it. You can look it up. And he's actually holding her head. He cuts her head off and holds it.
Huh.
So
I'll have to look that up.
All right, so if you ain't got nothing else to say about 3, moving on to Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter.
We get our first final boy,
Yep.
Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah, played by the one and only.
Nope, don't say it. I know his name. He's in the Goonies. I'm having a brain fart. It's Corey Feldman.
There you go.
Took me a minute, man. I was like, I know it. Where is it? Corey Feldman. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was his first gig, because it's in the later one when they at the very beginning in 5.
Yes.
Where they have to do it because he's doing shots for the Goonies.
Right.
So if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is it's either his first or one of his first, because I know he was also in Stand By Me.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, he did Stand By Me after this.
Okay. So yeah, then this, as far as I'm aware, this is his first film credit.
So I'll go ahead and let you speak a little bit on it and your likes, dislikes, and.
Oh, okay. So Part 4. For me, I love the fact that we get our another family that actually lives by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
The Jarvis family. We have the mom, sister, and Tommy. I can't remember their names.
The sister's Trish.
But we do have Crispin Glover.
Yes.
In this, and his awkward dance,
yeah.
which
he made up. He just did that.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And from my understanding is they took him several different times to make the shot in the house when they do the dance scene.
Yeah, because people were laughing
too much.
Ted White was Jason.
Yes, and from my understanding, he was beloved by everybody. He actually, from one of the things that I watched, the woman who gets naked on a raft in the middle of the lake.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Absolute frigid cold water.
Mm-hmm.
She started getting hypothermia, and he refused to do another shot until they got her warmed up.
Exactly. Yes.
He was very adamant about taking care of everybody on scene.
Right.
Gotta love that. In your killer, come on, that's great.
Yeah.
That's just star power right there. Man, this one is just such an oddity for me, because you've got I can't remember Crispin Glover's character's name.
Yeah.
But his friend always calling him a dead dick.
Or yeah, a dead F.
A dead F, yes.
Yes.
It was a joke that just never landed, and he kept trying. God save his.
Did you know when they're in the back and Christian Glover and him are sitting there and he's like he's typing on the computer? That was all ad lib.
Really?
Yeah. And they just, the whole dead F line was just ad lib, so they kept it in there. Yeah. And this is the first one where they finally show Pamela Voorhees' name.
Yes. When they first come through, we finally get a shot of her grave.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally got a name. Before that, it was due to a novelization, I believe, that told her name. And then we got it in this film. Yeah. The twins were apparently spearmint twins.
Yes, they were.
That I tried finding it. I couldn't find any commercial, but apparently they were the spearmint twins at some point. I love the movie. I kind of feel sorry for Corey, because a lot of things were going on behind the scenes while that was being made. And he's on scene seeing all this nudity and things like that, and it messed him up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the movie, going back to the movie outside of the background, love the movie. I love one of my favorites in this one has to be the corkscrew kill.
Oh yes.
Into Crispin Glover's face. Or
no, he puts it in his hand.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then he takes the meat cleaver. When he puts the corkscrew in his hand, and then the meat cleaver hits him in the face, that was a reverse shot.
Okay, yeah.
They filmed it with him actually having it on there, him reacting, and then taking it away, so they could just reverse it and make it look like it went into him. Yeah, now that is my favorite kill scene, and especially when Jason is mad later in the film when he's chasing Trish and he's hung up and he just grabs him and he just grabs Kristen Glover's character and just rips his hands off. Oh. But Trish is a great final girl.
Yes.
She's a fighter, and I absolutely love what makes this one of the best Friday the 13th films, in my opinion, is how the cat and mouse game with her and Jason. Where there's a scene where he's chasing Tommy and Trish. They get up to Tommy's room. They're barricading the door. Well, when Jason starts to get in, she takes the TV, smashes it over his head, and he falls down in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
I like where Trish is stepping over him. She's like, come on, Tommy. And Tommy's here in his doorway. And she's over here. All of a sudden, Jason wakes up. And Jason gets up and she goes, or not she, Tommy goes, Jason! And he looks over at him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he looks back at Trish and just gets up and starts booking it toward Trish.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole cat and mouse game. And then when they go across the street, I love where she looks at the window, she looks at him, and as soon as he takes a step forward, she just dives out the window in that slow motion, the dramatic music. And she is a fighter. Man, and honestly, I love this film.
Yeah.
And this film to me is a great, I guess you would say, if somebody had never seen the Friday the 13th films and they're like, just show me one, what's Jason about? I would show them this one.
Yeah.
So having said that, if I'm going to go ahead and give my grade on it, if I was going to grade this one, I would give it a solid A-.
Really?
Yeah.
Like I said, I like this film. A's are going to be hard for me to come by. Just I'm very, very, very particular when it comes to movies.
Mm-hmm.
I give this movie a solid B+.
Okay.
Like solid B+. I love the acting. The acting was really good. Especially step up from part 3. I love that we got the Jarvis family, and just the way Tommy handles Jason at the very end.
Yes.
Just it's one of those, you can tell that he's the rage and the anger and the die.
Yeah.
As he just brutalizes and kills Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Tom Savini. He come back to do this film.
Yes.
Because he's like, this was supposed to be it. And he was like, well, he even said it. He's like, I think it's cool that I got to create the monster. Now I get to kill the monster. And originally he was going to melt Jason's head.
Right.
And they said, well, let's not do that. And he said, when they said that, he knew, okay, they're probably going to do more of these.
Mm-hmm.
But he did the classic machete in the face. And when Jason falls down, you can see Jason sliding down the machete, which I think is a great kill.
Oh, definitely. Just a great, if it were the final chapter, it would have been a great ending.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. But, yeah, practical effects, great in this film. I will say, the reason I gave it an A- and not a, because I don't think any of the films are going to get A+. I'm sorry. Nothing's perfect. But the reason I give it A- is because there is some language that I don't care for.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dead F, I don't like that. They say that a few times and stuff. And like I said, it's I love the fact that it picks up right where part 3 ends, but I don't really care for like the hospital scene to where the dude's sitting there watching the girls do the aerobics. He's sitting there eating a sandwich and he sets the sandwich on top of the body.
Yeah.
That a little bit, but there was something I never even noticed about. But do you remember when they're sliding Jason into the freezer?
The breath?
Yes. I had never noticed that until about a year or so ago when I was watching it. And I was like, oh, you see the little puff of breath. That's cool.
Yeah. And, talking about the language, the coroner or the whoever he is, medical examiner, whatever. Like, when he gets scared, he just goes on a tirade of just language.
Yeah.
So.
And the people that's watching this, if you've watched my YouTube channels, you already know that I'm not a big fan of language. So that's, like I said, it's still getting A-, which is good, because I think the film was really shot well. The kills are really good. I love Ted White as Jason, and I like the kids in the film. But like I said, there's just a couple things, and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that.
Right. No, I gotta agree with you on that. And like I said, I give it a solid B plus. Um, I love the acting, and like I said, you we get a final girl and final guy, which we don't often get in a horror movie.
We got to mention real quick, and like I said, I'm not good with names right now, but the guy that's looking for his sister, she is the sister he's looking for is from part 2.
Yes.
His kill scene. He's killing me. He's killing. I'm like, okay. Like, and some people say they love it because they're like, it's the fear. You know, what would you do if you're hearing that? But then again, like she's just going, oh, what? Like she's just, I'm like, run. You know, I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, him doing that, he's killing me.
It just, yeah, definitely. Because the way they present him is they present him to be this ominous person from the very beginning.
Right.
He's presented as the threat.
Yeah.
And then you just have the, he's killing me. I don't know.
He didn't really put up a fight like I thought he was going to.
Exactly. That was my big problem with his character. Is this is like, you're intimidating. You got to put up a fight at least. But
he didn't.
No. He just laid down and died.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we're going to go ahead and move on to Friday the 13th, Part 5, The New Beginning. So, I'll go first on this bad boy.
Okay.
All right. This movie is not as bad as some people make it out to be, but it's not a very good movie. I like the final woman, Pam. I think she does a phenomenal job. I like Reggie the Reckless. I think he is cool and he does a good job. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I hate this version of Tommy Jarvis.
Absolutely.
I didn't like the guy's acting. I didn't like what they did with Tommy in this movie. The rest of the cast is annoying. You don't connect with any of them. Really, you don't.
No.
And the director was an ex-porn director. So if you like the TNA, you'll love this movie. But I'm okay with some TNA when it's done right. But when it's just thrown in there to be thrown in there.
When it's gratuitous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The language.
Definitely.
A lot of language. Yeah. The old lady, I can't think of her name. Is it Ethel?
No, it's not Ethel, but I know who you're talking about.
Her and her son Junior.
Yeah.
Now they did crack me up a few times, but still, I was like, I don't know. I just feel like they wanted to hurry up and do a cash grab, and this is what they come up with. Mm-hmm. I'm cool. I'm gonna say this. I'm cool with it's not really Jason doing it. I did think they presented that well. I did like the blue marks on the mask. How it separated Roy from Jason. But I think he did a good job as the imposter Jason. Other than that, not really something I go back to. Like I said, I do like the music. I like the look, and I like Pam and Reggie the Reckless. That is it. As far as any kill scenes in it, none of them really stick out to me.
Man, taking something from you and Randy from Small Town Horror, this is one of those. I'll watch it once. That's about it. I wouldn't. If you can find it streaming, find it streaming. Don't waste your money unless you're a collector and just really want to add it to your collection. That's just my view.
Well, I'm gonna give this movie a D plus.
It's kind of where I'm at. I'm about a D. Just
okay.
For me, the story, there's way too many plot holes in the story.
Yes.
If you can call it even having a story. A lot of the characters are just not really likable.
No. Pam, like I said, Pam and Reggie's the only ones that are likable, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our final girl, she was all right. But like right there at the beginning, you've got a kid. Uh, well, I say a kid. He's adult or teenager. But I mean, watching the movie, you can tell that he's different.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to help, but he can't really do a whole lot. And then you just have this guy lose his mind and just kill him. And it feels so out of place.
The chocolate bar thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels so out of place and out of left field.
Yeah.
It does not feel like a Friday the 13th movie.
No, it doesn't. And Pam, the woman that played Pam, even said this is one of the biggest things when they filmed this, she was like, really, we're doing this?
Mm-hmm.
How did they get mug shots of Jason? You know what I'm saying? They found pictures of him in Roy's wallet, and it was a picture of a newspaper clipping, and it's a picture of Jason looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And another thing, the ending was stupid. With Tommy all of a sudden wearing the mask, and he's got the knife.
Apparently there was supposed to be more to that, where he puts it down or he starts acting like it was a 2-part what if thing. It didn't feel right. It does not feel good. Like I said, watch it once, and once is probably all you're going to want to watch it.
So you're giving it a what?
D. I'm just straight D.
Okay. Well, now, wait a minute. Before we move on.
Oh, no.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. What was that death scene in the toilet? Dang those enchiladas. I mean, we've all been there. But
okay, sadly, to be fair, out of this entire movie, that was probably one of my favorite scenes.
Oh my god!
Just because it's so out of place.
My wife better never sing to me on the other side of the door when I'm in the bathroom. I'm just saying.
Oh,
sorry, we had to throw that in there.
Just be careful when you eat enchiladas.
Yes. All right, so now we're moving on to my personal favorite of the Friday the 13th franchise, and that is Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6. Giving it an A.
Automatic?
Automatic A. I'm going with it, and I'm going to tell you why. C.J. Graham, who plays Jason, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Love the fact that we get the classic Frankenstein at the beginning where Tommy, and I love this Tommy Jarvis.
Yes.
We will get back to him. But when he stabs Jason and the lightning bolt strikes, I love the zombie look of Jason. Even if Jason didn't wear the hockey mask, if he'd have just walked around like that, that was menacing. Tom Matthews, who plays Tommy Jarvis, great actor. He's actually in my favorite zombie movie of all time, Return of the Living Dead. He did a phenomenal job as Tommy Jarvis. This is when I think of Tommy Jarvis, it's this guy right here.
Definitely.
I think the casting was good in this film. I love the music. I know that this is where they didn't take it as scary as it could have been, but I like that the movie is fun.
Yes.
There's no nudity in it. The language is really watered down, which I like that. But overall, I have fun watching this movie to this day. I love the paintball scene, and I love when Jason comes out of the tree and cuts all three of their heads off at once. Man, it's just the final girl in this, Megan. I think her and her dad, who was the sheriff, they played off each other well.
Yes.
And this has my second favorite kill scene in any of the Friday the 13th films, and it's actually her dad's death scene where Jason takes him and bends him backwards.
Yes.
That was done so well. And the secret is, if you've watched the documentary, there was somebody laying down with their legs sticking out, and then he was standing over him, and all he did was just lean back, so it looked like it. But the director, I love the director, how he took this film, and he even said that, he's a big fan of the old Universal monsters. Well, then he started throwing nod at like Carpenter's Road, John Carpenter.
Karloff's
gas station or something. Yeah, Boris Karloff. He had such a great vision, in my opinion, of this film, and I think he captured it. Yeah, granted, in the box office in 1986 when this film came out, it didn't do as good because, and I agree with what people say, 5 left a bad taste in people's mouths, so they didn't really want to go see it. But now it's one of the biggest Friday 13th films of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I give this movie a solid A, because I could watch this anytime, sit down, and still enjoy it. And it's one of those that I don't ever, there's not a scene in there that I'm like, ooh, fast forward. You know, I dig it. One negative real quick, I don't like the tool belt. The carpenter look. I didn't really care for that. It's too clean, like the gloves were too clean.
Yeah.
But besides that, I love the film.
I'll have to agree with you. I don't necessarily that I'll go with an A, just because A's are super hard to get from me.
Get out. Not funny. Yeah.
I'll give it like an 89.9 B plus.
Okay.
Just the way this movie begins, the characters, everything about this it's flawless in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you do have some negatives, but again, everything can be improved upon.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're talking like the old school movies,
yes,
my opinion, 2 and then into 6 are like top 2 original that you can always go back to.
Oh yeah,
always. Love 6, and I love like you said, that intro where he stabs him, and then you have the lightning. Beautifully done. Man, you covered pretty much everything on this one. I don't really have anything else to say. Yes.
And I love that.
Oh.
Randy bought that for me for Christmas.
Oh.
My favorite one. He's even got the tool belt.
You just, of all of them, this one, aside from 2, has to be my absolute favorite.
Cool.
And like I said, I gotta agree with you, man.
And I will say, I'll go on record. Me and him has not talked about these films before this camera's rolling. What you're seeing here, this is the first time me and him has actually ever sat down and talked about each film.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just feel like 6 is so fun. And even though it's fun, it's still got some violent scenes in it. And like I said, I think C.J. Graham did a great job. And this is the only Friday the 13th film that actually has kids at the camp.
This is true. Yeah.
So you got anything else you want to share about it?
No, man. Like I said, you pretty much covered all the good stuff. It left me with nothing.
All right, so now we'll move on to Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
My opinion, this is Freddy versus Jason before Freddy versus Jason.
Okay.
You can tell they wanted this clash. It's obviously Carrie White versus Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously Carrie White versus Jason. Obviously, we've already had the supernatural talking from 6 with reanimating Jason, taking it to this next step. I actually would have loved to have seen them do something more beyond this, because our final girl, she already has these psychic powers.
Tina.
Let's do more with her.
Mm-hmm.
Have her, as much as Tommy Jarvis is the hero against Jason, I think she could have been as well.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Just her acting in this really set it apart for me. And like I said, the paranormal, this is where we start going off the rails.
What do you mean set it apart from you? Like, for bad or good?
For good.
Okay.
Set it for good. This is one of those where we start going off the rails and start exploring the more supernatural side of Jason. We're starting to get to teleports and the mythos that we know of Jason. But yeah, like for me, the ending is just phenomenal.
You know about the mask splitting and all that, where she's tightening the mask on
and
him.
It cracks.
Yes,
yeah,
I think that's a phenomenal scene. And then she throws him down in the basement and sets him on fire. But this is the first one that has Kane Hodder.
This is our intro to Kane. Yeah.
And I will say that this is, I don't know if you agree with it, but I think this is the best look of Jason. I love the spinal cord showing and all the damage that he took over the last few films.
I will have to agree with you. I like the damaged look. Ever since we've had the first, I meant to mention it earlier, but ever since we had that first chip into the mask, where it's stayed there the entirety of all the films.
Yeah,
the continuity of it. Yeah,
Tina, I'm like you. Tina did a great job in this film. I would have liked to seen Tom Matthews come back as Tommy Jarvis, but he ended it phenomenally on part 6. He got the girl. He chained Jason to the bottom of the lake. So, I mean, I feel like his justice was done.
His arc was done.
Yeah. Fun fact: you remember her doctor in part 7?
Yes.
Do you know what he's famous for?
Mm-mm.
He is Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I love the little tidbits like that.
This movie, even though it has the best look of Jason, and I do like the Carrie aspect because it was something different, was butchered so bad by the ratings board that you don't see hardly any of the kill scenes at all. They're watered down bad. And I don't know. I know everybody, a lot of people, and I love Kane Hodder just as much as the next person. I've met him several times. He is an amazing guy. He's cool. He loves his fans. But he's not my favorite Jason. But I do think his portrayal of Jason in this one is phenomenal. But unfortunately, he plays in the 4 Friday 13th films that kind of start going off on the deep end. Yeah.
Yeah. Jumping the shark, as it were.
If I was going to rank this, or not rank, if I was going to give it a grade, man, what really hurts this one is the ending. When her dad comes up out of nowhere, out of the water, and all he's got is dirt on him and mud. Why would they leave his body down there for this many years? She killed him when he was little. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
And yes, they got shots where they made him look like a skeleton more and stuff, but it still don't make sense because so I killed my dad, his body's still down there. I don't like that. I'm gonna have to give this movie. I'll give this movie a C+.
Really? I'm gonna go B-.
Okay, so we're right there.
Yeah. Like I said, I actually enjoyed the movie. I thought as much fun as we had with 6, I had fun with 7. Just the whole, and me, I like supernatural things.
Yeah.
So the psychic part was like, woo for me.
And that's what I'm saying. And I know people complain about stuff like that, but to me, it's something different.
Yeah.
It's separate. The way part 5 separated itself, part 6 separated itself, and now part 7.
Yes.
And now we're going to Friday the 13th, part 8.
The one that really separated itself.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Separated itself completely from Crystal Lake.
So, do you remember this one pretty good, or do you want me to talk about this one?
I remember this one all right. There is no denying that our Jason teleports in this one. It's just too obvious. I will say, one of my absolute favorite parts in this one, though, has to be the boxer on the roof.
Yes.
Just the beat down that he is delivering. And then gets tired, and Jason just...
Fun fact, that was real hits.
Really?
When he holds his hands up, that's real blood from his knuckles.
Really?
Him and Kane Hodder talked about it, and Kane said, hit me. Go ahead. Because, he was getting protected with that mask. That was really him hitting Kane Hodder in the face.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved that. That was by far one of my favorite moments. Probably the best part of the film, in my opinion. Well, no, sorry. Second best part. Best part's when he's walking down Manhattan with the guys there by the radio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is by far the best part.
He kicks that radio up. You dead meat slime bag. And all he does is just shows them his face, puts it down. They're like, "We're cool, man."
Walks away. Best part.
Yes.
Again, like I said, this is where we get to our teleporting Jason, because there's no way the professor runs into the building and immediately gets thrown out.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, teleporting Jason exists.
Yeah.
Because of this film.
Well, how did he get to Manhattan? He was last seen on the cruise, the boat, and then they all get in the lifeboat.
Oh, he swam. He clearly swam all the way because lakes are connected to rivers,
oceans and stuff. I will say I love this look of Jason. I've always praised this look. As far as everybody's like, "Oh, he's slimy through the whole thing." I think he looks menacing. His head is all nasty looking. Don't care for what's underneath it, but I love his look, and I love that the little V's are the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the best looks of Jason.
I mean, I think he should look slimy. He's been chained to the bottom of the lake.
That's why I'm like, ah. But my problem with this film is it's boring, and the acting is terrible in this film. The main girl, Renee, is trash. Not the woman herself, just the character.
The visions.
Yes, it's trash. And my favorite kill scene in this film is where he grabs the Asian girl and he picks her up
in the disco.
Yeah, and breaks her neck and just throws her down. And Kane Hodder has said that when he was talking to the stunt woman, he's like, "You're supposed to be dead, so you can't catch yourself." And she's like, "Oh, I'm fine, I got it." And when he threw her down, she really just hit the ground and just stayed there.
Yeah.
But the cast sucks in this film, and it's just a boring film. It really is. Another fun fact: when Renee and the guy comes through, I don't even remember the boyfriend's name. When they go through the diner, she's like, "We need to use your phone." And she's like, "There's a killer chasing us." And she's like, "Welcome to New York." Do you remember when Jason busts through and all of a sudden the cook comes around and he grabs him and throws him?
Mm-hmm.
That cook was the only one. That cook is the one and only Ken Kersinger, who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Really?
And
early debut.
And he got to play Jason in this film for one scene when they're driving down the alleyway. They just seen the boxer's head in the car when they're taking off, and you see Jason in front of the cop car.
Uh-huh.
When she hits him, that's Ken Kersinger in the Jason outfit.
Well, I did not know that.
So he played Jason before he did in Freddy vs. Jason.
Preview debut.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I gotta agree with you. This one has a lot of issues. By far, my favorite parts are the best parts of the whole movie.
Yeah,
just the cast is horrible, cliched. I hate the visions. I hated the visions of swimming little boy Jason. It didn't make sense.
And of course, the other boy that had hair that was coming out of the mirror, and he was saying, "Help me, help me." Apparently that was either the director's or a producer's son, so that's why he got the role.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But that was so stupid. He's got a full head of hair, and all you got is one little eyeball. "Help me." I'm like, that's not Jason.
But yeah, this one, like I said before, watch it once. You might enjoy it. I was not a super fan of it. I'm not going to give it a D because I didn't hate it that much, but I will give it a low C-.
I'm giving it a C- as well. Yeah. I hate it because Kane Hodder did such a great job in the film, and the look is amazing, but it's just a crappy movie.
Yeah. Just, again, I love the fact that you can go from the lake to the ocean and arrive at Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of crappy movies, now we're going to Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
You go. I don't even. Oh,
this film
terrible.
is a
trash.
This
trash.
Film is trash. It is a terrible film. I don't know what they were thinking. Jason looks stupid as all get out.
When you do see him.
when you see him, I do like how his mask is sucked in and the skin is growing around his mask.
Yes.
But he is literally walking around in a long sleeve shirt and pants and got his shirt tucked into his pants with a belt on.
Mm-hmm. He's so prim and proper.
Yes. Jason's never talked. And in this film, at the very beginning, when the army is shooting him, he's going, why Kane Hodder agreed to do this, I'll never know, unless he just needed money. But even down to the idiot cop or whatever he is, when he comes out and he's like, incoming! That guy, all of it was so cheesy. And I don't care if the director, his name was Marcus something, he could say all he wanted to, but we wanted to have fun. No, you ruined it. And thank God it wasn't the final Friday. I mean, the switching the bodies things was stupid. And if you enjoy this film, I'm happy that you enjoy it. I'm happy that there's people out there that like the film. And yes, like what we were talking about, part 5 separated itself, part 6 separated itself, part 7, 8. This one, I think, would have been a good horror movie if it wasn't Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
This felt like it was more of a film like Phantasm. If you've ever seen the Phantasm movies, I don't know. But I'm not saying it feels like a Phantasm movie. I'm just talking about that weirdness to it. And then the characters are trashed. And the final fight with Jason, and I don't even remember the guy's name.
At the Voorhees house?
Yes. Jason all of a sudden has a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason and this guy are fighting at the end of the film. And Jason's just grabbing them and throwing them on the ground. Picking them up, just throwing them on the ground. Then he takes a shovel, hits them with through the whole movie, Jason has been just cracking people's necks, killing them that quick. But he can't do it to this guy. Trash.
It's pure and simple.
Trash.
So
even down to the final part where the dog walks up, hits the Jason mask, and Freddy's hand comes up, which was Kane Hodder doing that.
Really?
Yes. It was cool when it first came out, but now that I watch it, it's still trash. Because when it comes up, the sweater goes down, and you can see that he's not burnt or nothing. F all day. Cannot stand this movie.
Mm. Yeah, I gotta agree with the F. It's horrible, and I know. Don't kick me out. You've already threatened to do it once. Don't kick me out. But for me, this is the Halloween 3.
Oh my gosh!
Of the Friday the 13th series.
Halloween 3 is such a great movie, though.
But if it's independent, if you take it apart, set it in the whole.
If it was just called Season of the Witch.
If it was just Season of the Witch, yes.
Okay.
For me, that's what this is to the Friday the 13th.
I got you.
It just does not feel like it belongs. At all.
For them to even throw the Necronomicon in there from the Evil Dead,
yeah,
it wasn't cool. It was stupid. And then what's up with the freaking shaving? What do they call it? The homoerotic shaving scene?
So apparently the director intentionally made it that way because he believed that horror should be all inclusive and it should be for everybody and everybody should have a part.
I get that. But why would Jason want to shave a dude first?
I have no clue. I honestly, I felt that switching to a different horror film, Halloween Kills, I thought they did the gay couple. The two, I can't remember their names. The same names.
Little John, Big John.
Little John and Big John. That was perfectly done.
I thought that they were one of the best characters in Halloween Kills.
Absolutely.
But it was done right. And I'm not against them having gay characters in the movie. I just don't get why you would have Jason shaving a guy. I mean, really? It's once again, it didn't fit.
Exactly. And F.
All right. F all day. All right, so now this is the one that I can't wait to talk about. We're down to Jason X.
Mm.
Now, I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I know you've been wanting to talk about this one. So I'll go ahead and let you have it, man.
All right. Jason X is a good movie if you take it by itself, like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And now here's my thing. I look at it and I have fun with it because, in my opinion, it's not a Friday movie. It's a Jason movie, but it's not a Friday movie. It is a quintessential parody of the Friday the 13th movies.
Okay. I agree with that.
Because you've got all of the classic tropes that you've by this point, we've already had Scream. And they've already done the rules of horror movies.
Yes.
So you've got all your things. You've got the drugs, the sci-fi, the sex, all of that stuff. Even the nope, that's later on. Sorry, different movie. But Jason wakes up on the Grindel because people are having sex. It's like I said, it's literally, for me, the reason I like it and the way that I like it, it's a parody of the Jason movies, or it's a parody of the Friday the 13th.
I will say this. This is how I feel. Just like I showed Bill a while ago that I had recently purchased all the Friday the 13th films on VHS, and they asked me, well, we got Jason Goes to Hell. I was like, no, I don't want that trash. A Friday the 13th film is 1 through 8.
Yes.
Freddy vs. Jason is not a Friday the 13th film.
No.
Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X are not Friday the 13th films. They're, like I said, my Friday the 13th films, and I think everybody will agree, is 1 through 8. But go ahead and finish with your...
I like sci-fi anyway.
Okay.
But for me, this has one of my favorite kills in the entire series, and that is the dunk into the liquid nitrogen.
Yes.
The nitrogen kill. Absolutely love it. I don't care what Mythbuster says. It's a phenomenal kill.
Yeah.
Just the way he wakes up, grabs her by the back of the head, dunks her head in, and he doesn't take any effect by it.
Right.
Just he's fine. He's been dead. What does it matter? And then just smashes her face.
Yeah.
And then pulls it up. The fact that he didn't just leave it there, but he pulls it up and gives us that great busted face, and then just drops her.
Yeah.
Love it. There's a lot of the parts that I don't really care too much for.
Like the nipple.
I was literally about to say the weird professor. You pass. Just a little much. The robot. I get the robot. She's supposed to be a awesome chick, and the way she kills him is pretty cool. But it's too much. I will say that I love the look of Uber Jason, the metal techno. Like I know Kane said it was super hard to move in those prosthetics, so having that full range of motion was very difficult for him. But I actually really like the look of Uber Jason, the way the mask looks, the red eye contacts, just love it. For me, this is my fun, campy movie. I give this a B. Go ahead and tear me apart. I know you want to.
No. Okay. So a solid B.
I give it a solid B.
Okay. So I don't like the look of Uber Jason.
Okay.
I do actually like the look of Jason before he turns into Uber Jason. The opening scene to where he's chained up, I think he looks menacing. When the guy's down there running the computer and Jason's that one eye just turns and looks at him and he squints like he's mad. And he's like, he gets up, he gets that cover and he's like, stare tissue, ugly, He throws it over. I think Jason looks pretty cool. I like the chains being around his neck and stuff. I'm not a sci-fi guy, so that's one of the main things. Space is where horror goes to die. Leprechaun, Hellraiser.
Unless it starts there. Thank you, Alien movies.
I've only seen the first one.
Really?
And I have all of them. I've only watched the first one.
Dude, it's so much better.
I hear that. But Anyway, yes, that kill scene with the nitrogen or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
classic. Um, as this movie has aged, I have grown to enjoy the film. It is a film that I will put on to get a laugh at. If I'm in the mood to draw, if I want to sit down and start drawing, and I want to watch a Jason movie, because I don't have to pay really close attention, but it's background noise and I can still enjoy it.
Right.
Hate the robot girl. She's too cheesy. Fred, I'm going to have to hurt you now. Those one-liners they gave her is trash. Uber Jason didn't care for her. Of course, the cool spot was when they send him back to Crystal Lake. You know,
Yes.
I do like that part. Man, just overall, I've grown to like the movie because it is a fun movie if you don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And don't consider it part of the Friday 13th timeline.
Right.
If you consider it part of the Friday 13th timeline, then you're going to be screwed just like Jason Goes to Hell.
That's what I say. I consider it like a parody of the... kind of like how scary movies were to scary movies.
Yeah. I get that.
It's just a fun romp of... Well, this is Friday the 13th, not serious.
Right. This was them, and they've even said it. They were trying to work the rights out between Freddy versus Jason, and to keep Jason fresh, they were like, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
And the CGI hasn't aged that well because this was shot in 2001.
Let me look.
I believe it was 2001. I may be wrong, but... And again, now the main girl, the final girl, I thought she did a good job.
2001.
Okay, cool. The main girl was good. She was bad to the bone at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Like, she got him into the freezer and all that stuff. But then when you get to the cast of the space station...
The Grindel.
Yeah, it just wasn't that... no. So, what'd you give this movie?
I gave it a B. Oh, fun fact. Did you know that the director that comes in with the guards, it's actually David Cronenberg?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. The man that gave us The Fly and all the wonderful body horror.
Oh, cool. And he had a cool death scene.
Yeah. Well, that was actually part of his thing. He agreed to do it. Talked to the director. Agreed to do it as long as he could die.
Well, there you go.
Contract fulfilled.
So, you gave it a solid B.
I gave it a B because for me, it's that stupid fun romp.
I'll give this movie a C minus.
Okay.
It honestly is one of those, like I said, it is a fun watch just to throw in there and chuckle on.
Yeah.
It is no way in whatsoever a horror movie.
No, absolutely not.
If this movie scared you just a little bit, don't watch anything else.
Don't go back to any of the other Jason movies.
Right. All right, so now we're moving on to the hit 2003 Freddy vs. Jason. My top 5 horror movies of all time, Freddy vs. Jason is in it. I love this film, but I'm not going to judge this film as a Friday 13th film because, in my opinion, this is more of a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
And if you've watched my review and my ranking, you'll know where this stands for me. But I absolutely love Freddy vs. Jason. It is another one that is a fun film to watch.
Yes.
The action, the fight scenes, they deliver. But it is more, in my opinion, of a Nightmare on Elm Street film to where Freddy needs to get these people, these kids, to remember him and to strike fear on Elm Street again so he gets Jason. And he even says it, I had to search the bounds of hell to find someone to make them remember, and he found Jason.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people hate on Ken Kersinger. They wanted Kane Hodder. I do get that, 100%. When I found out Kane Hodder was not going to play Jason, I was like, oh, man. But I get where they wanted to do with Ken Kersinger. They wanted this big monster Frankenstein-looking Jason, and I think he pulled the role off good.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan that they showed his eyes through the whole movie. But Ronnie Yu, the director, he directed Bride of Chucky. So you could really see the similarities between these two films. And there's not a whole lot of negativity that I can say about the film, but if I'm going to rank it as a Friday 13th film, I'm gonna give it as a Friday the 13th film. I guess I would have to give it a B. Now, when I rank it as a Nightmare on Elm Street or just an overall movie, it's a solid A minus or A, wherever I feel that day. But as a Friday the 13th film, I'm gonna say a solid B.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree with you on this. It, you can put it with Friday the 13th, but it doesn't really belong. It is definitely more of a Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, I agree with you in the exact same way. It's Freddy recruiting Jason.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Jason and then Freddy comes along. So therefore, for me, it's a nightmare movie.
Yes.
Really enjoyed a lot of the film. Let me think. Is this the one in the bed where he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that kill.
Oh yeah,
the way he just comes up and folds him like an accordion
after he stabs him multiple times with a machete.
Beautiful, loved it. One of my biggest issues that I have with this movie, and the directors, I believe the directors said the writers, one of them said that they never said it, but is how they made Jason afraid of water. So stupid. Do not agree with that. Because, I mean, it's part of Jason's whole gimmick. He's an excellent swimmer. We already know that. He already proved it. He swam to Manhattan.
Okay.
So
here's what we can argue.
Okay.
I actually talked to Ken Kersinger last year about this.
Okay.
It's not stupid.
Okay.
The reason why I say that, yes, Jason walks around in water and stuff. But what does Freddy say? Let's see what skeletons you're hiding in your closet.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts the blade to the little kid, Jason.
Yeah.
The little kid is whose mind he goes into.
Okay.
Why would the little kid be scared of water?
Of drowning.
That's why when he said, and dig a little deeper, and he goes in, that's why Jason, when he was shaking, it wasn't in reality. It was in
the
nightmare. And when Jason was surrounded by water and he turned into a little kid, that makes sense. The little kid is the one that drowned.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, I understand the drowning.
Yeah.
But water itself.
But he never made it. But they never made Jason scared of water when he was in reality. He says,
okay. All right, I'll give you that. It just, in the nightmare realm, it's whole different rules. And Freddy rules that, so I'm not going to try and fight that.
If you had to, and really, I mean, I know it's putting you on the spot, but if you didn't pick water, what would you pick for Jason to be scared of?
His mother.
His mama was in it.
She was scary.
She did good too.
Oh yeah, for it
not to be Pamela,
she did really good.
For it not to be Betsy Palmer, she did really good. I love that line where she's like, "You're like a big stupid dog that can't stop eating, even when your master says you've had enough." I like that. Go ahead.
I enjoy this movie. All of it just really feels like a nightmare movie.
Yeah.
More than Friday.
Yes.
If I had to rank it on a Friday scale, I'm probably going to go like you and just say a B.
Okay.
On a nightmare level, this is one of my favorite nightmares.
Yes.
And I know I said earlier that I don't like to give A's, but on nightmare, I'd give it a solid A minus.
There you go. See,
good movie. Really enjoy it. A lot of fun. The callback to the Nightmare House. Obviously they didn't film it at the normal Nightmare House. They built a different one, from my understanding. But
they made it look just like
it look just like the Nightmare House. Everything about it, the way it played back and forth. Freddy's too weak. He has to make Jason stronger. And the callback to the drug from
Hypnosil
from part 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Loved it. It was great.
This is my favorite version of Freddy.
Oh, definitely.
His look and everything. even the detail how his sweater is not really bright like that. It's darker. His nails are longer.
I love Demon Freddy.
Oh,
when he jumps out, the way they launched him out, that looked so menacing.
I wish we could have got just a few more minutes of him at that.
As Demon Freddy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the darker red, the sharp teeth, just everything about him was menacing. And I'll even say I actually like the ending where he comes out carrying Freddy's head, and we get that little wink.
I like the final girl. I like the whole cast. I thought did a good job.
Oh, absolutely.
This was one of those films where I think the casting was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like you. It really went on both sides, and it got people talking. Who won?
Yeah,
Jason, Freddy, Jason. Jason may have won the battle, but when Freddy turned and winked at the camera, he knows all he's got to do is remember. Whoever remembers him and they have nightmares, he's right back.
Oh, yeah.
And this film, I feel, going with the lineup of the original Nightmare on Elm Street movies, I think this film fits right in with those. Take out Wes Craven's New Nightmare, because that's one of those standalone films.
Yes.
But even if you took out Freddy's Dead and stuck Freddy versus Jason, it would go right in where Freddy dies at the end of part 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to throw Freddy's Dead in there, he dies at the end of that. But how does he get remembered? So, I mean, I do feel like this could fit perfectly with the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Mm.
I'm like you, though, man. I have a blast with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And this was one of the films that I really was so hyped for, that it was cool to be in the theater, and when one-liners would happen or the fight would happen, the crowd would get into it. And that was fun, man.
The pre-Avengers battles were...
we don't talk about that trash on this. I'm just... I don't like... Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a nerd.
I watched the first Avengers movie and fell asleep.
Oh!
But now Batman, that's who I'm talking about, Batman.
Hey, I'm your Batman guy all day long. I will... We will do all the Batmans.
Okay, so be looking forward to that, because we're going to be doing another episode where we will be discussing every Batman film, and we'll rank the Batmans.
Michael Keaton all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now we are down to the final Friday the 13th film, and it is Friday the 13th, 2009 remake.
I'm just going to say how sad I am that it's 2009, and then we have to say the final film, because we haven't had one since.
I know it.
Makes me sad.
This movie gets so much hate, and I said this in my ranking, and I don't understand why. I like this film. Yeah, it's got a lot of TNA in it, and it's got a lot of language. I would cut some of that down. But Derek Mears, who portrays Jason in this film, did a phenomenal job, and if they ever do another Friday the 13th film, I would love to see him come back. I love how they explain that he's got tunnels dug under Camp Crystal Lake.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he runs.
Yes, we get to run Jason back.
And I like the fact that they kind of tied 1, 2, and 3 together, to where 1, you see Mrs. Voorhees at the beginning, she gets her head cut off. Then later on in the film, he's got the sack around his head.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate how he found his hockey mask in this film. That is the dumbest thing they could think of. Is
in
this
the barn.
And the guy's like talking to the mannequin. He's like,
yeah.
You remember when you took my virginity, baby? You know, it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate that part.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the low point of the film.
Like, I remember watching this in theater, and the part was so stupid that people were laughing at it. And then when he finds the hockey mask and you hear the when he put, it didn't mean nothing, because it was like that part was so stupid that it took everybody out of it.
Yeah.
But go ahead, man.
It dulled the hit. I will say that I love that this is essentially a three-part movie, because you've got Back with Mrs. Voorhees,
mm-hmm.
tying into the first one. Then you've got a flash forward to a small camp of kids trying to go find. Well, they're going camping, but they're going to find pot.
The pot.
To be rich, to make themselves rich.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that you have that. And then you've got a flash forward beyond that. So I love that this is technically 3 different time periods. Um, man, like you, I love that we have the tunnels, because they're at the first little chunk with the kids going camping. How you have him reaching up through the floorboards,
Yes.
or the machete through the floorboards where he slices his leg.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's beautiful.
Yes.
And the way you have that cut to at the end of that section where he runs and you see him.
Yes. And the
And
girl
it cuts,
screams.
yes, and then it
Yes.
cuts. Beautifully shot.
Yes.
Beautifully shot. The early kills in that, super great. The bear trap that catches Richie.
Yes.
Um,
Him putting the woman in the upside down sleeping bag over the fire.
oh, beautifully done.
Never seen that before.
No. Oh, and you know she was hot because she's already oiled up and then just literally cooking.
Exactly.
She literally cooking in the bag. Absolutely loved it. And I love how he kept, I can't remember her name, but the sister.
Yeah.
Kept her down in his lair.
Because she reminded him of his mother.
In the locket.
Yeah. Man, that's the best opening to... I would say that is one of the best openings to any horror film.
Absolutely.
Not just Friday the 13th. But yes, when he looks over and he runs and she screams and it just... Oh,
and
man.
you've got that slow fade in with the title.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautifully done. I love Jared Padalecki as the brother.
Clay.
Yes.
Yes.
Really, really disheartened by Danielle Panabaker. How she has Final Girl written all over. Makes it all the way to the end.
Yes!
And then just bites it.
I remember watching that, and he's pulling her through. The sister already went through, and all of a sudden you see the machete go through, and she's like, and I remember being like, are you serious?
Right.
Man.
Because you feel for her through the whole movie. It's like, you're clearly the nice one out of this group of just real stereotypical jerks.
Yeah.
Like her boyfriend is just such a...
Well, that's not really her boyfriend, though, remember?
Oh, yeah.
He's just trying to...
Oh, yeah.
Which he did play a good... He did a good job to make you not like him.
Yes, he did. He was phenomenal in making you hate him. Chewie and... I can't think of his the other one. Them two together, comedy gold.
Yeah.
Like every scene that they were in was great. I'm not a stoner. I'm not a pot person. I don't smoke weed or anything like that. But the whole scene where I saw you with a bow.
Yeah.
Like I laughed. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Because it was just the way they played off each other was really good. I thought the cast played off each other really, really well.
Yeah.
The boat scene
yes.
where dude gets an arrow from like 100 yards away.
That was some Rambo stuff right there.
So apparently, and I love the way that they killed her off under the dock. But apparently the thought was originally for Jason to wait her out till she got tired.
Yes.
And just drowned.
Yes. And I like that idea.
I'd love that idea.
Because he just sat there and watched her at the... he was by the... what do you want to call it?
The dock.
Yeah, and all that stuff. And, yeah, he just sat there watching her like, any day now.
Yeah. And just the presence that he brought, it was just menacing. Didn't do nothing. Didn't move. Just stood there.
Yeah.
But you know if you move, you're dead.
Right.
So, like I said, I love this film. I am so sad that it gets so much hate.
Yes.
I'm sad that this is our last entry into the Friday the 13th films.
If it is, they went out with a good one, though.
I will agree that if they went out with a good one. You know what? I don't praise a whole lot of modern horror.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like old horror is a lot better.
Yeah.
I got to give this movie an A-.
Okay.
I enjoy this movie. It's really good. I've got the killer cut.
Yeah, I do too.
And I say this every time when I talk about the movie, and I could be wrong, but I swear I swear I'm not. The tow truck at the end,
Mm-hmm.
the person driving it is from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's the old man in the wheelchair.
Yes, I do think that.
I say that all the time. It's the tow truck from the movies that he had way back when. They're connected. I swear they're connected. I just need proof. I need like solid proof. I don't have solid proof, but I swear it's the same guy from Texas Road.
I have always thought that too, but nobody's ever mentioned that. I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
because it does. The guy that gets his legs cut off.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When he turns and looks back and sees Chad getting,
Yeah,
it looks like him.
I can definitely see that, man.
That's a little tie-in.
So you're giving it an A-.
I'm giving it an A-.
Well, I'm going to give it a B+. The only reason I'm not giving it an A- is because it does have a lot of language, and man, there's just times I don't know. I like my horror movies to be able to, if I'm going to start watching a horror movie, if my daughters or somebody come around, I ain't got to pause it,
Right,
or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
But I love the cast,
Mm-hmm.
and I cannot think of the guy's name, Chewie, and the other guy.
Yeah,
But when he is running from Jason, and Jason takes an axe and it hits him
in the back,
it is such a painful thing, and it's so sad because he's literally going, "Guys, help me, please!" And they're fixing to go out, and the girl's flipping out. She's like, "Make him stop!" And I love when Clay's like, "He's using your friend as bait." I love that.
Oh yeah,
and what would have made this film better, honestly, is if they would just went ahead and killed Jason, not have him come up.
Yeah.
If he would have honestly just died, then I feel like we could all be like, okay.
I feel like the way they had him come up though is, in my opinion, a nod to the original. It's just that you can take it however you want. It was same as the original. The nightmare didn't really happen, but I believe that's their nod saying,
"Oh yeah,"
to the callback of where we come from.
But 16 years later, and we still don't have another one.
Yeah,
and they took the game away from us.
Yeah, I've tried playing. I tried getting back on the game. I know they said that the servers were going to go down, but I tried getting on just to play offline against bots and things like that. Can't even do that.
So you can't even do the challenges either?
Nope. The moment you turn on the game, you go to log on, it says retry. We can't find a server, and it says you can retry or you can go offline. If you try to go do the offline, it shuts down. It's like you can't even go scroll up and down the menu.
Got you.
At least that is on mine. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but
well, that is our review of the entire Friday the 13th franchise. Bill, I appreciate you coming on, man, and doing this with me, because like I said, it's one of those that I like people that have the same passion as far as like the certain franchises.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like me and my brother, we can talk about Halloween all day long. Nightmare on Elm Street, we can talk about it, but my brother's just not huge into the Friday the 13th franchise. And now I found somebody else that likes the Godzilla films.
Yeah.
And I have just finished watching all of the original Showa era Godzilla films. So I was going to plan on doing a ranking for that. So maybe I'll get you back over for that.
Sounds good.
Now that I know, have you seen all the Terminator films?
Oh, yeah.
So now I've got somebody that I can do the Terminator films with and the Batman. I love the Batman films.
Movie media is like my go-to. If you name a movie, I've probably seen it.
Right on.
Like, and for me, I've been a Batman fan since I was like 3. So I grew up Batman. Batman has always been my favorite hero. So I've seen every animated film, every live action film, you name it, I've seen it.
Right on. Well, we hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video, and please leave us a comment in the comment section. Let us know if you want to sit there and go through all the Friday the 13th films and give your grades. I would love to read them. But as always, God bless each and every one of you, and until next time.